When I was younger and I went out to town, I had that one shirt. All my friends had one shirt. The shirt that we believed pulled, the shirt we put on when we were going to have a really good time. We all had a version of that shirt. This wasn't our daily wearer shirt, it was our fun shirt. I loved that shirt. There was just something about it. Today, you maybe have one watch or more, but do you have a fun watch? I really think you should have a fun watch. I have a daily wearer, but every now and again I feel the need to be a little bit quirky, a little bit lighthearted, and also to break the mold in regards to what I normally wear. So I have what I consider a fun watch, and I think everybody should have one in their collection. To be clear, I'm not talking about ironic watches like, the H. Moser Apple Watch, which though is fun in its own way. Just a fun watch. Also no Jacob & Co's blinged out Pateks or hublots in pink. That's a whole different category. Here I have 5 ways to get a bit of fun into your watch collection. Get a colorful strap. The cheapest way to get some fun into your watch collection is not by recommending a watch. It's by adding a NATO or other strap, preferably with some color. The Restrained Submariner, your Speedy, or your Radiomir. Throw some color and you're off to the races for a very limited investment. Take a watch with a distinct restrained aesthetic and give it a twist of color and vibrancy. I wouldn't go so far as to put a NATO on a Lange, but take a look at what happens to the Speedmaster when it gets a color NATO, or this Nomos. The whole aesthetic of the watch changes. It surprises and transforms the wearing experience into a whole other level of fun. The cartoonish watch. Colors and cartoon characters lighten the moods, put a spring in the step and just sends off a happy vibe. This can go both ways. I personally don't think the collabs between Tag Heuer and Mario Kart amount to a fun watch. To me, it was just a collab and nothing more. I've also had the same reaction to the Seiko Street Fighter models. The colorways are fun, and maybe it's because I've always preferred playing Tekken that I didn't feel the fun in those models. Also, to be perfectly honest, I feel a little bit too old to wear those models, especially because I don't have any emotional connection to these models. If they speak fun to you, then by golly, go buy one. The fun watches to me are irreverent and playful. A model that epitomizes this is something like the Constantine Chaikin Joker. The dial is super innovative, has references to an iconic villain, and the interpretation of the Joker is thoroughly original and not derivative in any way. My personal fun watch in this category is the Swatch Mickey Mouse Damien Hirst version. Again, it's a cartoonish but artful watch at the same time. It's not derivative, and thought has been put into the design. This watch doesn't get a lot of wrist time, but whenever the wife drives me to the opera, this watch finds its way to my wrist as a subtle form of protest. Finally, there's the old school Rolexes with Mickey Mouse or even Tweety Bird motifs. Yes, it's not something you easily get a hold of, and you do risk getting into murky waters regarding originality of the Rolex overall, but there's just something very contrary about Tweety Bird on a Rolex dial. It's so not Rolex. Dials, 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 and two-tone. From a mile away, I always spot the unique color dial. Pink every day may be a little bit much for some, but every now and again you have to consider being the man who's not afraid to wear the pink shirt. It's a conversation starter and can do wonders for the mood when done right. A pink perpetual from Rolex, a Nomos Signal Blue Club Datum, a Reverso Tribute in deep red. Nomos do this really, really well with their Club Campus line that just scream Miami Vice, both because of the colors but also of the California dials. They aren't the only ones though. Zenith has the Defy Classic line, which especially in the blue model, which unfortunately is discontinued now, had a lot of pep and joie de vivre going on. In the newer lines, the Carbon model also has a ton going for it. The cool thing about this category is you also see the high-end makers joining the fray. The Moser that I mentioned earlier, but also the AP Music Edition. If you can afford it, it is a very special way of putting some pep and some fun on your wrist. In this category, I would also definitely suggest you consider two-tone. Watches like the Submariner on two-tone blue and gold is also a watch that screams beach, pina coladas, and happy days and transform the regular sub. Granted, at those prices, that's a lot of money to throw at a watch that's just going to be your fun watch, but maybe you're fun all the time and then absolutely go for it. Complications. There's the chronograph, a really practical function that very few people actually use. Date, calendar, annual calendar, perpetual calendar. Functionally unnecessary, technically complex, but fun? No. Moon phase? Also really cool, but not fun. So what's a fun complication? Any time your watch can make a sound. To me, that's something like the Lange Zeitwerk minute repeater, my Grau watch, by the way. If there is one complication that just screams fun, it's the minute repeater or chimer or alarm. I mean, the thing tells the time with sound. How cool is that? Every time you play that for people outside the community, they're going to be shocked and they will instantly be amused by the watch. When you tell them what it costs, they will break down laughing and explain to you how an Apple Watch also has an alarm built in for a fraction of the price. Also, in the same money as no object range, there's the new Speedmaster with repeater function. It's just badass and hilarious. But you don't necessarily have to be in that price range to enjoy this kind of noisy fun. There's the Vulcan Cricket, the Jaeger Memovox, the Tudor Heritage Advisor. Like I said, minute repeaters and alarms and those kind of things are conversation starters, and there's just something about the alarm going off in a meeting that just speaks to me. Come on, you know you want one. And then there's you and your watch. The Rock wears a huge Panerai. Schwarzenegger wears a 55mm Beobachtungsuhr Flieger watch. That's on brand for both of them. Andy Warhol wore a tank, and to me that logically made sense with the understanding I have of the man. The rapper Jay-Z wearing a gold Royal Oak? Totally on brand. But Jay-Z also has a Cartier crash. Something changed in my perception of Jay-Z when I heard he had the crash. Maybe he wasn't just your typical best rapper in the world. What if Arnie wore a Cartier tank, or maybe a large American? What if John Mayer wore an Invicta? Okay, maybe that's taking it a bit too far, but my point is this. Whether we like it or not, a watch often is an extension of some part of our personality. When you throw on a Rolex, you cannot avoid that some people will assign some sort of label to you as a wearer, depending on how well they know you, your other attire, and so on. Those that choose Rolex Vintage do so for many different reasons. Heritage appreciation of nuances, of special models, and for some it's also an attempt to distance oneself from what new Rolex represents and communicates. When putting on something different, you break the mold, and that can be fun. I think it would be fun if The Rock wore a Mickey Mouse watch. If Tim Cook had the sense of humor to wear a Moser, or The Undertaker from the WWE wore a pink Nomos when he wasn't slamming people through a table in the WWE match. Watch collecting isn't just serious business about movements, hairsprings, column leaders, heritage, and dial finishing. It's enjoyable, it's inspiring, it's fascinating, and it should also be fun. So how you decide to do it, make sure that you put some fun in your watch wardrobe. What change on your wrist would surprise? What watch would make you feel fun? What would subvert others' expectations or even your own? Think about that. That would be fun. What do you think? What would you do? Comment below and please subscribe if you like my content. I'm having fun and hopefully you'll be entertained when watching my videos. Thanks so much for chiming in. Cheers.